Hello children, welcome to today's digital lesson. Today we are going to discuss about the national movement of India. In this lesson, we are going to learn about these topics. Students, recognizes the importance of formation of Indian National Congress, differentiates the method followed by moderates and extremists, describes the Swadeshi movement, explains Gandhiji's famous movements against Britishers, and finds the reason for partition of India. So, these are the topics we are going to discuss in the lesson. In the previous class, we have looked at the British conquest territories and takeover of kingdoms, introduction of new laws and administrative institutions, how the Britishers' laws changed the lives of peasants and tribals, what educational changes they introduced in our country, and the revolt of 1857 and its aftermath, the decline of crafts and growth of industries in our India, how these incidents or issues were organized by the Britishers. The British were exercising control over the resources of India and the lives of its people. And until this control was ended, India could not be for Indians. So, this brought the consciousness among the intellectuals. So, this consciousness began to be clearly stated by the political associations formed after 1850. So, the early associations. The first association was formed by Dadabhai Nauroji in 1866, and some other associations were formed by Surendranath Banerjee, Justice Mahadeva Govindaranade, Badruddin Tyabji, K.C. Telang and G. Subramaniam. These associations were formed in Pune, Bombay, Madras, Calcutta regions. After that, these associations were fought against the Britishers by some groups, or by adding some people in that association, they fought with Britishers. These were not successful. So, there was a need to formation of a big association or a national wide association. So, for this, A.O. Hume, a retired British official, played an important role in establishing that type of a big association. So, that was the Indian National Congress. It was established in 1885. The first association was held at Bombay and presided by W.C. Banerjee. It was known as the Indian National Congress. The Indian National Congress, W.C. Banerjee was presided and A.O. Hume was the first who started this. Why? What were the main objectives of the Indian National Congress? Look once here. To build a nationalist consciousness among the diverse people of India and unite them. Because in India means different religions, different type of castes, different languages people are living here. Bring all these people under one umbrella. So, to create a common political platform. Just we discussed that some associations were formed in different regions. But the main objective of INC is to create a common political platform to fight against the Britishers and to promote democratic ideals and functioning in India. Look here, this is the first meeting of Indian National Congress in 1885. First meeting, nearly 72 delegates were attended to this meeting. After the formation of National Congress, Indian National Congress, the movement was divided into three phases. The first one is the moderate phase from 1885 to 1905, the extremist phase 1905 to 1920, the Gandhian era. This is the final phase 1918 to 1947. The moderate phase. During the first 20 years, the Congress was led by the leaders who are known as moderate nationalists. The moderates urged the government to introduce a number of reforms. These moderates were not demanded for immediate independence. Only they demanded that Indians' voice should be in the government or in the administration, and that Indians be placed in high positions in the government. Only that type of demands were there given by the moderate nationalist leaders to the government. The main leaders of this moderate period, Dadabhai Nauroji, W.C. Banerjee, Surendranath Banerjee, Firoz Shah Mehta, Badruddin Tyabji. Look here, some of these people are Badruddin Tyabji, Gopala Krishna Gokhale, Surendranath Banerjee. The result of moderate phase. What they achieved? They formulated Indian opinion on important issues. It played an important role in uniting the Indians against the Britishers. Good result was achieved by these people, so that the extremist came into the movement. That extremist phase was started in 1905 to 1920. What triggered this extremist phase? Look here. In 1903, the Swadeshi movement was started around the 1903. Why these extremist phases became very popular? In 1903, the Bengal governor, then the Bengal governor was Lord Curzon. He decided to partition the Bengal as East Bengal and the West Bengal, because so many nationalist leaders came from this Bengal. So they want to divide the Bengal like East and West Bengal. But this was condemned by so many nationalist leaders. Throughout the country, a movement was started that was called Vande Mataram movement against the Bengal partition. In 1905, this was the Bengal. Now it is divided into two parts, East Bengal and West Bengal. This West Bengal is in our country, that is now also it is called West Bengal. This East Bengal is now known as Bangladesh. Look here, this is the West Bengal, East Bengal, and this is the West Bengal. Now it is known as the Bangladesh, East Pakistan before 1971. This is the Bangladesh. And Vande Mataram movement. Just we talked about the Vande Mataram movement. It was started against the partition of Bengal. So the people throughout the country and the Congress also opposed this partition. Large public meetings and demonstrations were organized, and novel methods of mass protest developed throughout the country. People paraded on the streets singing Vande Mataram. This Vande Mataram is a poem written in Sanskrit by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee in 1870s, which he included in his novel Anandamath. Anandamath was a novel written by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. In his novel, he introduced this poem, and it became popular in this movement is the Bankim Chandra Chatterjee. During the Vande Mataram movement, the Swadeshi movement also became very popular. Swa means our own. The Swadeshi movement sought to oppose British rule and encourage the ideas of self-help, Swadeshi enterprise, national education, and use of Indian languages. So, the national leaders influenced the people by Swadeshi, means using of the indigenous goods. The Swadeshi movement gave tremendous stimulus to Indian industry and demand for indigenous good, means the Indian goods, only the goods which were manufactured or produced in the country were used by the people in those movement days. So, in this extremist period, three people were very famous, important leaders. Those were Lal Bal Pal. Do you know who known as Lal? Yes, he is the Lala Lajpat Rai. Bal means Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Pal means Bipin Chandra Pal. These three became very popular in the extremist period. Bal Gangadhar Tilak, he given a slogan, famous slogan, that is, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. After that, in 1905, when he was fighting against the Britishers in the Vande Mataram movement and Swadeshi movement, Britishers arrested him and they kept him in jail. So, Tilak was imprisoned. So, what they achieved? What were the achievements of extremist phase? Swadeshi movement encouraged to open famous steel plant in Bihar by Jamshedji Tata. Do you know Tata iron and steel industry? Tata Tisco is very famous nowadays also. So, it was started by Jamshedji Tata in those days, and the Bengal Chemical Works by P.C. Rai. They became successful in generating their nationalism among the diverse groups of the country. So, these nationalist leaders germinate, mean they spread the nationalism among the different groups of our country. The Indian National Congress. Now answer this question, students. The Indian National Congress, the moderates and the extremists. What you learn about the moderates and the extremists? Now, differentiate the ideology, differentiate their achievements of moderates and extremists. We discussed that the first extremist moderate period and next extremist period. Some ideological differences between these two groups, split into two in the Surat session of 1907. Again, these two factions, moderates and extremists of the Congress, united 1916 through the Lucknow Pact. So, this Lucknow Pact became very popular because these two groups were again united. Between these two, Home Rule movement. When Tilak released from the jail, he joined hands with Annie Besant and launched Home Rule movement. Home Rule means Annie Besant and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. These two persons joined their hands and started this Home Rule movement in 1915. World War I. It was broke out in 1914 with Britain, France and Russia on the one side, Germany and its allies on the other side. Our Congress leaders thought that if we support the Britain in the war, Britain may give freedom to our country. Instead of that, the British tried to raise funds and resources for the war by raising taxes, exporting food and other necessities to the armies. So, our people, means our Indian people, paid much taxes than before. Now, the last phase. Mahatma Gandhi, born in Gujarat, Porbandar, he went to South Africa for his law practice and he came again to India in 1915. In South Africa, people were discriminated by the Britishers. Having led Indians in that country in non-violent marches against racist restrictions, Gandhi was already a respected leader, known internationally. Means Gandhi became popular internationally by the movements he led in South Africa. So, what were the Gandhiji's methods? Look here. These are the famous methods of Mahatma Gandhi: Satyagraha, non-violence, Swadeshi, mass movement. Let us discuss about his important two methods. One is Satyagraha. This term is made up of two Sanskrit words, Satya, Agraha. Satya means truth. Agraha means insist to hold fast. It means to be fearless, truthful and not accepting what is wrong. So, by this Satyagraha weapon, he fought against the Britishers, not only in India, in South Africa also. And his another weapon was non-violence, ahimsa. Non-violence means ahimsa, or non-violence means not causing harm or avoiding injury. Injury means not only physically, the mentally also. We have not to make any harm to any person or any creature. The famous movements of Gandhiji. First, Gandhiji launched his movements in Champaran. These are the minor movements of Gandhiji: Kaira movement and Ahmedabad's textile workers agitation. By these movements, he became popular in our country. After that, these three are his major movements: non-cooperation movement, which he started in 1921, civil disobedience movement, that is also called as Salt Satyagraha. It was started in 1930, and the major third movement was Quit India movement in 1942. Let us discuss about the first one, that is non-cooperation movement. What are the reasons for the non-cooperation movement? First one is the Khilafat movement. Second one, Rowlatt Act. Third, Jallianwala Bagh tragedy. Khilafat movement. Khilafat movement is related to Turkey. In the First World War, Britain defeated Turkey and they insulted the Turkey Sultan by removing some territories from under the Turkey king. So the total Muslim community fought against the Britishers in support of Turkey king. That was known as Khilafat movement. In India, Mahatma Gandhi supported the Khilafat movement. And second one is the Rowlatt Act. Rowlatt Act, which was introduced by the Britishers. Rowlatt Act, by this act, any person can kept in the jail. So Mahatma Gandhi and other Congress leaders were opposed to Rowlatt Act. And third one was the Jallianwala Bagh. This Jallianwala Bagh is a place in the Amritsar. Against the Rowlatt Act, some people were gathered in a Jallianwala Bagh place and they are discussing about some issues. General O. Dyer surrounded that garden and he called to shoot these people. Soldiers were started firing on the unarmed people. So many people were died during that tragedy. So that was known as Jallianwala Bagh tragedy. So for condemning all these, National Congress, Indian National Congress was given full support to Mahatma Gandhi to start any movement. So Mahatma Gandhi was started that non-cooperation movement. He called for the non-cooperation movement. The main objectives of the non-cooperation movement were remedying Khilafat wrong, means what the Khilafat wrong was made by the Britishers, so they have to rectify it, making British regret for the Jallianwala Bagh massacre and cancellation of Rowlatt Act to achieve self-government. So these are the main objectives of the non-cooperation movement. The programs of this movement, already we have discussed that the Gandhiji's methods were Swadeshi movement and mass movements. So in non-cooperation movement also he used these two methods. First one is the boycott programs and second one is the Swadeshi programs. But suddenly Mahatma Gandhi called for suspension of this non-cooperation movement. Why? Why was Gandhiji stopped this non-cooperation movement? Because when the peasants were peacefully parading in the streets, when the peaceful peasants were provoked because the police had fired on their peaceful demonstration. In that situation, 22 policemen were killed on that day. Because that, Gandhiji called off the non-cooperation movement. This incident took place in Chauri Chaura in Uttar Pradesh. Result of non-cooperation movement. What Mahatma Gandhi and Indian National Congress achieved by this movement? Look here, this led to decline in the import of foreign goods. Just now I said that Mahatma Gandhi's main weapons are Satya, Ahimsa and also Swadeshi. So here also he encouraged the people to use Swadeshi goods only. So the foreign goods and decline, means import of the foreign goods were declined and a boost to the Indian textile industry. It united India as a nation, developed enthusiasm in Indian among the people of India, achieved the freedom to fight against the Britishers. So here look, non-cooperation movement, Gandhiji is pinning the khadi. So this became a symbol in the non-cooperation movement. Salt Satyagraha. What factors were led to civil disobedience movement? Simon Commission. Second one is the Declaration of Purna Swaraj. Simon Commission, Britishers sent a commission, Simon Commission. So in that commission there was no single Indian person. So our Indian National Congress leaders were opposed the Simon Commission and they called for Simon go back. The second one was the Declaration of Purna Swaraj. The Congress Working Committee decided that 26 January should be observed as a day of Purna Swaraj. To achieve these two, they started civil disobedience movement. The main objective is to break the government salt laws. In those days, salt was prepared by the British government only. There is no chance to produce salt by Indians. So, we have to break down the government laws. That was the civil disobedience movement. The program schedule was like this: manufacturing salt, foreign clothes shops and liquor shops were picketed and burned, hand spinning was taken up as a movement, British schools, colleges and services were boycotted.
Within weeks, Gandhi moved into action with his historic Salt March. On March 12, 1930, Gandhi and 78 chosen members of the Sabarmati Ashram began a 24-day march to the beach at Dandi, 241 miles away, to break the British law which deprived the poor Indian of his right to make his own sword. From March 12th to April 5th, 1930, Gandhi, leading the Peace Brigade of 78 khadi-clad disciples, made his way on winding rural roads, marching in the name of God. He had no trouble in walking. Less than 12 miles a day in 2 stages with not much luggage, he said. Child's play. He was then 61. Mrs. Sarojini Naidu, the Indian poetess of fame, joined the party on the way. The popular response was beyond all expectations. On April 5th, 1930, early in the morning, Gandhi marched to the shore, bathed in the sea, and picked up some salt left by the waves. Mrs. Sarojini Naidu, standing by his side, cried, "Hail, Deliverer!"
Salt Satyagraha, Mahatma Gandhi is breaking the salt laws. This salt Satyagraha started by Mahatma Gandhi, and it was started from his ashram, Sabarmati ashram, and reached Dandi, a small village near the Arabian Sea coast, by 78 his followers. First started by his 78 followers, and at last so many thousands of people were joined in this march. It is also known as Dandi March. Now, after these 2 movements, British government introduced provincial autonomy. India Act of 1935, they introduced this provincial autonomy. Means in central level, the British can rule the country, and in states, elected bodies will rule. So, the Congress formed governments in 7 out of 11 provinces. Provinces means states. Now, we are calling states. In previous, they were called as provinces. Means it is bigger than our states. Meanwhile, in 1939, World War II was started. We already discussed in World War I that Germany was defeated by the Britain, France and Russia. In Second World War II, again the Germany, Italy and Japan were one side. This France, USSR, Britain are in another side. Most people who cherished the value of democracy and freedom opposed Hitler and supported the Allied countries. Here Allied countries were Britain, France, USSR. So, our Indian National Congress leaders also supported Britain to defeat Hitler, because Hitler was a dictator. He was not given value for democracy. So, we want democracy. So, we supported, our country leaders supported to the Britain. And in those times there were no any other movement. So, in Quit India movement was started by Mahatma Gandhi in 1942. British rule in India must end immediately. The National Congress was called for this movement, that is known as Quit India movement. In this movement, Mahatma Gandhi given a famous slogan, "Do or die." Means we shall either free India or die in this attempt. Mass movements were led by the Mahatma Gandhi and his followers. This is the Quit India movement pictures.
Since the British were not willing to let India defend herself by forming a national government, Gandhi called upon them to quit India and prepare to organize Satyagraha. Addressing the historic session of the All India Congress Committee in Bombay on August 7, 1942, Gandhi said, "Our quarrel is not with the British people. we fight their imperialism. And he administered an incantation, do or die. We shall either free India or die in the attempt. The Quit India resolution was passed on August 8, 1942. In the early hours of the very next morning, Gandhi and all the top Congress leaders were roused from their...
And by this Quit India movement, so many places became independent, and so much of property was destroyed by the demonstrators. The rebellion, however, ultimately brought the British Raj to its knees. And in 1940, when the Second World War was going on, meanwhile, the Muslim League had a resolution that was demanding independent states for Muslims in the northern, western and eastern areas of the country. Muslim League demanded Pakistan after success in 1946 elections for provinces. In 1946 provinces elections, Muslim League won so many states where the Muslim majority people were lived. So, they demanded for the Pakistan. In March 1946, the British cabinet sent a 3-member commission. In that commission, Strafford Cripps, Pethick Lawrence and Alexander. These 3 were important people, so that was called as a British cabinet mission. They came to India and they proposed a political framework to free India, but it was not accepted by the Congress as well as the Muslim League. After that, Louis Mountbatten, who was appointed as Viceroy in early 1947, was not able to resolve the differences between the Muslim League and the Congress party. So, consequently, it was agreed that India would be split into Muslim controlled Pakistan and Hindu dominated India. This resolution was introduced by the Britishers and also accepted it by our leaders, and India became independent on 15th August 1947, and in 14th night the Pakistan became independent country. The joy of our country's independence from British rule came along with the pain and violence of partition. That pain means our country was divided into 2 parts, that is Pakistan and India. Look here, this is the in 1947 when our country was divided, this also known as East Pakistan and this also known as West Pakistan. These 2 were under the Pakistan rule, and at last our India became free in 1947 August 15th. Now students, explain the objectives of Indian National Congress. These are the questions for you. Under the evaluation, answer these questions. Explain the objectives of Indian National Congress. Why did Gandhiji suspend the non-cooperation movement? Locate the following places in the map of the world: Bangladesh, Pakistan and England. Okay children, write the answers for these questions and show them to your class teacher or your subject teacher. Okay, we will meet again.